go. Are we going to do one of these where technically we actually make it all the way through and it works?
But here's the problem. When bro to bro, super talk to super talk, studio to studio, we have a problem here. It just shows that one of us, we're probably going to have to stay after class and get this thing done right. But I'm going to throw it to you. It's all yours. How are you?
Well, we go through this, and I don't feel like in the afternoons we have any issues, and then in the mornings you don't have any issues. So we got to figure out what's different. This feels like it's a Perez issue. I mean, it's got to be Perez.
That's it. That is it. Now I know. Oh, see, he's not on the screen anywhere, so, hiding in the corner there's got to be him. Look, seriously, we only have one segment here, but I do want to go on and spend some time on this one. First of all, your thoughts on the game last night as far as the Liberty Bowl.
Whew. I mean, if I'm a Mississippi State fan, I am immediately just kind of moving on and pretending as if that did not happen. In fairness, Mississippi State was without, 10 players in the ball game, and 4 or 5 of those were starters, and there's no question that had an effect, especially on the defensive line. And that's tough to deal with that. But, I mean, it was like Mississippi State didn't show up, and they did not play well. Tons of credit goes to Texas Tech for wanting to be there and playing well and getting it done, all of those things. But that was a tough look for Mississippi State last night.
Sometimes, and you spend a lot more time on the field and still do, but sometimes you can kind of vicariously get this feel of, is there enthusiasm? Is the big mo there? Do you want to play? And I know you're watching it from a lot of miles away on a television screen, but you just didn't seem to feel that from the Bulldogs to start off last night. I mean, it got a little bit better later, but it seemed to be a slow start.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And it was almost like they dug themselves such a hole that they weren't able to really dig out of it. But if you look at the way the game unfolded, it was kind of like this methodical deal for Texas Tech. It wasn't like they came out and they were up 28-0, or it was 28-3 after the first quarter. I mean, it was opening drive. What was it? 6 rushes for 80 yards and just kind of punched them in the mouth going all the way down the field. And then after that, it was just kind of steady. Texas Tech just outplayed Mississippi State. And you're right about the motivation piece. I mean, maybe they didn't want to be in Memphis. Maybe once they realized that there were half a dozen starters that were out, it kind of took the wind out of their sails. Maybe the fact that they had a couple of teammates that opted out, maybe that was part of it. But for whatever the reason, Mississippi State just all the way around last night absolutely throttled.
Well, when you lose a lot of those people on the offense and defense, and as we said, that got through the psyche and the brain of from the quarterback on through, it just really didn't matter. But what does it mean when you start looking at, and we're not sure if he's going to address it or not, and circle back to this fact, when you start losing some people who decide, they were part of the team and they're not going to play because of the draft and they want to just skip it. You think he will come back and mention anything about that? And if he does that play into the psyche of people who may want to play at Mississippi State later? Or for any team, any coach for that matter?
Yeah, I mean, I think a coach has got to be careful if they go down that road, because everything that coaches do is recruiting based. I will give Mike Leach credit. If he's got an opinion, he does not hold it back. He's not, worried if somebody's feelings are going to get hurt or if he has a strong stance on this is really hurting our game, then say it. Here's the problem, though, Paul. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the answer is unless you somehow incentivize. And it's sad, right? So it's sad that we are in a place in college football. The bowl season has been special for a long, long time. And so to throw out the idea that maybe you've got to incentivize players to continue to be a part of their team for the reward piece, that's sad. But at the same time, it's an exhibition game following a 7-5 season that in the grand scheme of things means nothing. And for Charles Cross, for example, the left tackle for Mississippi State, the next time he hears his name called, it's going to be during the first round of the NFL draft, and he's going to have generational, life-changing money coming his way. And so putting that in jeopardy because a defensive lineman or a linebacker from Texas Tech cuts him and causes a severe knee injury that causes him to fall from the first round to, I don't know, sixth round. I don't know how you say to these kids, you can't do it. Thankfully, in the bowl games that have got stakes that are a little bit higher, the college football playoff and some of the New Year's Six bowl games, for the most part, you're seeing players say, I'm going to play. But this week, we've seen 4 Ohio State players opt out of playing in the Rose Bowl. So I don't know what the answer is.
Well, the good thing for you and I is we don't have to make that decision. We won't be in that particular situation to have to make a decision like that. And that's the only good thing about this, because there's so many different parts of the gray area. Anything as far as new as of this morning, as we speak right now, as far as the COVID situation and the travel plans or whatever it happens to be, as far as Ole Miss is concerned, that you know about?
I have not been on the bat phone this morning to get any sort of an update, but as of late yesterday afternoon, I talked to multiple people at Ole Miss, and the thought is that they're in good shape. They had 3, 4, 5 guys that tested positive for COVID last week. The only reason that they were testing, because the entire team was vaccinated, was related to some travel plans, either where players were going or who they were going to see over the Christmas break. Those positives triggered some contact tracing. They went through the testing protocol with the contact tracing deal, and everybody that was tested as part of that was negative. Lane Kiffin took advantage of the announcement from the New Year's Six and College Football Playoff Committee last week that if teams wanted to push back their arrival time, they could do that. And so instead of going to New Orleans on the 26th, like was the original plan, they will practice in Oxford today and tonight. Will get on a plane. They will fly to New Orleans. So they will be there tonight, all day tomorrow, all day on Friday, and then they'll play on Saturday night. And everything I've heard leads me to believe that they're going to be as close to full strength as they have been as a football team since the season opener against Louisville. Not just COVID-related, but overall health since the beginning of the season.
Is there anybody in quarantine right now? Is anybody on that list that's in the quarantine regimen as we speak?
I mean, the answer would be not that I know of, but I mean, with the way the Omicron variant is popping up, I mean, it's exploding all over the place. It's not crazy to think that somebody could have tested positive yesterday, but I was led to believe that even those players who tested positive right before Christmas, with the way the CDC has changed the quarantine guidelines, the 5 days were up, and they were back now. So we'll see.
We had somebody on C-Spire text line said that they passed a truck stop or a grocery store where they've been testing, and he passes it every day, and there's hardly anybody there. And he passed it yesterday, and the lines are very, very long in the Memphis area. So it is rampant. But the other part of that too, and I'm not sure how this figures in as far as the games go on. CDC cut the quarantine time yesterday, and I think it's down to 5 days now, is it not? And I'm not sure if that's. Yeah, if that's active now, and I think it is, so it's 5 days, and maybe that'll play into some of these. Your thoughts on the game itself? What's going to happen? We're trying to make a bookie bet here.
I think it's going to be. Say again, sorry.
No, I said there's some people who want to make a bookie bet, so they don't have to do that anymore. They can make the bet at a legal casino. That's
right. You can go visit our friends at Pearl River Resort and stop by the
exactly right.
Timeout Lounge and have a blast.
Yeah.
Look, Paul, first of all, it's going to be a great environment. Baylor's really excited to be there. There's going to be a great Baylor group of fans. The number of Ole Miss fans is going to be mind-boggling. We're looking at north of 40,000 Ole Miss fans that are going to be in the Superdome. I think red and blue is just going to kind of be the predominant color in New Orleans. So it's going to be a great environment. The Sugar Bowl is a big deal. It always has been a big deal for teams in the South, and this is a good Ole Miss football team. It's a good Baylor team, too, though. This is a Baylor football team that has won 11 games and won the Big 12 championship. They've got their starting quarterback from the beginning of the year who played most of the season but missed the Big 12 championship game. He is back, and he's going to be the starter. As I mentioned a second ago, I think Ole Miss is as healthy as it has been. Should be a whole lot of fun. Cool way to start the new year.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch Matt Corral in his final appearance, too. Richard, always, sir, thank you very, very much. We'll look forward to the game and to Sports Talk this afternoon. We appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you and yours. And Happy New Year.
Thank you, my friend. Merry Christmas and Happy